I'm going to turn this into this in 27 minutes or less. Will I finish in time, or will I have to hit the turbo button? You can paint along with me or just relax and watch. I'm Gina Murrow, the 27-minute artist. Today we're going to do a painting of a puppy named Frodo who had a serious birth defect and nearly died, but he ended up saving someone else's life. I'll tell you the story as I create it. Some of the things you'll learn are how to get started on a pastel painting and the best way to hold a pencil while you're doing this. Also, you'll learn how to make a young dog look like a puppy and not an adult. Watch carefully. What are the two unexpected colors that I use in this pup's black fur? And something unexpected happens with 2 minutes left. If you're going to paint along, here are the supplies you'll need. A red pastel pencil for making the shapes. A set of soft pastels in puppy dog colors. Also a green and a blue. This painting would also work with oil pastels if that's what you have. If you want to purchase these supplies, see the show notes below. So let's head down to the studio and have some fun. Okay, let's get started on little Frodo here. I'm going to draw in where I want my eyes and the nose and just kind of roughly the size of the puppy. A puppy is got kind of condensed features, sort of like a toddler, so you want to make sure you get this part right or he'll look like an older dog. When you're drawing the lines, even when they're circles, you need to make straight lines like this. And there is a Y to that, but I can't remember the Y, so I'm sorry. Just trust me, you will make a much better painting if you come at it with angles. Makes a stronger painting, even when you're doing circles. Now I feel real comfortable with where I've got the width of his eyes there. And I know the width of the eyes is about there to the bottom of his nose. He has a really cute button nose. It is not round, and it has kind of these parts to it. Okay, so we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll get roughly his mouth in there, like a little triangle. So when he was born, he was named Frodo, and it looked for a long time like Frodo wasn't meant to live. He was born with a cleft palate and nearly died immediately. He was the runt of the litter. And the breeder, who's my friend, Laura, did everything she could to save him instantly. I mean, they worked so hard. So for the first week of his life, he had to be hand-fed every 30 minutes. She and her family banded together and set the alarm and worked round the clock to keep him alive. Little Frodo really had a hard go of it at first. Now, if you're doing this along with me, yours might look just a little bit different, and that's okay. What you're after, though, is to make sure you get the condensedness of a puppy's face. So the distance between his eyes, we're going to go from outer eye to outer eye, and I hold my arm out straight, and then I use my finger from the tip of my pastel pencil to where my finger is. That's how wide his eyes are on the reference photo. And then I back up and keep my hand at the same distance and make sure it matches. And this is a little bit wide there, so we're going to come in just a shade. His head is roughly triangular. Sorry, got my iPad for extra reference over there, and it's supposed to be on airplane mode, but it's not working. Just ignore that. I will ignore them and call them back. Okay. I think his head is a little more like that. You notice I'm using a reddish pencil. That's so when I'm putting the dark of his fur on, I can tell that my dark marks are separate from these reddish marks. And again, I don't have to put everything in, but I'm getting an idea of where I want these pieces to go. Little puppy legs are kind of widely spaced. Gives them more balance. Little triangular paws. This paw is a little farther back because it's behind him. This front paw is being lifted up slightly. He was walking towards the camera. So Frodo, as he was known when he was first born, just seemed to have the tenacity to not die. He kept coming back. And after his second and third week of his life, they moved the feedings to every 2 hours, round the clock. And every time Laura would put him back in the incubator, she'd think, nah, he'll be dead next time. You can tell I'm in the basement. Listen to our household noises going by. Okay, so now we have a rough idea of where we want this to go. Put that down. Let's start off with our darks. I think I'll take a nice heavy-duty black here. Yep, that's a nice soft black. It's a piece of a black. And we'll go up like that. We have the darkness right around his ear. Wow, this is a very soft pastel. You can see it's just breaking apart in my hand. I don't remember what this brand is. I think it's a Schminke, and they are very, very soft. Terry Ludwigs are very soft, but this isn't a Ludwig. This is something different because it was round. Ludwigs are square. We'll kind of get in some of the darks on his nose. We'll come back and shape that later. And then there's plenty of dark here, and I make sure that my strokes are going the direction of his fur. Right now I'm just focusing on the darkest of darks, which helps me get his shape. Let's go up a little more on his nose. And there's little freckles there, which we'll cover up. Okay, now we're going to go to the next lighter dark, the next step down. But we don't want to go too far in this step. So I'm going to try, that's pretty close. Let's go a little bit lighter. Again, that's still too black. I just picked that one up, didn't I? Why don't we try purple? Okay, let's try purple, especially up here where there's going to be light on his head. And I know there's not really purple in this dog, but we're changing the value. And we're just going to kind of get some color in there, which will make it more interesting, even though your eye, when you're looking at it, will read, oh, this is a cute little black dog with brown markings, not a purple dog. Promise it won't look purple when we get done. Again, I'm just blocking in. Now we're going to go, I'm not quite happy with the darks. Let's try this blue, And just a little bit where there's sky coming down on it, I'm going to put a little touch of blue. And then we'll come back in with the black and define that better so that it doesn't look like a rainbow dog. Put a little bit lighter back there. So Frodo thrived. He was always smaller than his siblings. We're going to go with this brown. When I took this picture of him, he was about 6-7 weeks old, maybe close to 7. His siblings easily were double his size. He looks like he was more like 4 or 5 weeks old, but he wasn't. He was quite a bit older, but he was starting to thrive. His cleft palate was beginning to heal, or he'd healed pretty well. You could kind of see it. You notice his nose is a little shaped just a little bit different. I'm going to put this lighter brown right around where the edges of the white are going to go. Okay. Very good. Now right at the edge of this black where there's going to be brown, I'm going to add this kind of a gray for a transition. And that brown is really, it's kind of a caramel color, but there's a darker color underneath. So let's use this, let's see. No, I don't think that one's going to work. Let's use this orangey terracotta color to kind of outline some of the base of this creamy color that's going to come around. And now we're going to go the next step down, a little bit lighter. And on this paw, it made kind of like little rings. On this one, this lighter color is primarily on the side away from the bulk of the sun, and a little bit underneath in the shadow. Now finally we're going to take this light, very light, it's a warm creamy tan, and we're going to put his little the brown markings on his feet, and we're going to lightly go over the slighter darker colors to bring it in. So this is only on the sunshine side on this foot because it's farther back. Again, backing up a bit, we'll take this medium color, not the real dark one, and we'll put it right here on his cheek, trying to get that shape. And there's a tiny bit by the white right there, just a tiny bit. Now we're going to go back to this, now let's take this darker. I keep wanting to use this one, but it's not really ready to use. This one has a skin on it that needs to be rubbed off, and I don't have time to do that just yet. So we'll take this darker one. Yeah, there we go. It's a little bit too dark. So we'll switch back to, oh, here we go, this color. That's why I put that one on here. Yeah, there we go. This is a new piece that I haven't really worked with much. And it's a shape that I'm not accustomed to, but we'll make it work, right? And we'll take the medium tan and we'll go along the bottom of his cheek. Okay, there. That feels really good. And a little bit above where his eye is going to go. Okay, once they decided that that Frodo was going to live, they found him the most perfect owner in a very close friend of the breeders named Dana. And she renamed Frodo Yogi. And Yogi became her emotional stability dog. He gave her love and unconditional acceptance in a time in her life when that was in short supply. and was very much part of why she grew to be a healthy adult. So they had a mad love affair, she and Yogi. And he kept her safe and kept her loved and helped her get through some really tough times. And the breeder, Dana, Laura, all those people all agree that this was Yogi's purpose for surviving. This was why God gave him life, because he desperately needed it. Now I'm down to 12 minutes, so I want to put his eyes in before we get too far out. And this time I'm going to use a pastel pencil, so I have a little more control. I'm doing the same shapes that I drew at the beginning. You have to remember that a dog's eyes go along the side of his head. They don't come straight on the front of the head like ours do. And you need to remember that. When you're putting in the pupils, they're round, but they usually join up with the black that's above. And then let's take this dark brown, and make a half moon shape. We can come back in with the black and train it a little bit more because it's getting a little crazy. And then always around the eyelid is a lighter color. So we're going to use the edge of this gray. Yeah, that's nice. It's a nice medium gray. And I'm going to just, again, not making circles, making squares. There. Take the pastel pencil again. Darken his eye quite a bit with a nice dark hard line underneath. There we go. Make his eye a little more round. And on this eye that's slightly turned away from us, we need it to push up and around. His eye is a little more round than I'm making it, so I'm going to round it out a little bit. There we go. I can take this warmer orange, go back to that terracotta color, and put just a dot in there. Just a little. Using my black pastel pencil. Okay. We're going to make his pupil look a little more towards us. And then if you look, they usually get kind of a triangle of dark right above their eye most of the time. If it's a white dog, it's going to be like a dark gray. It will be a little bit different, but we're going to shorten that too. Now, to make sure that you can see, get a little bit of, actually, instead of white, I think I will use this new pastel, which is actually kind of a very pale blue. And I'm going to use the tip of it to define the edge of his eye. And we can kind of see him looking at us. Okay, great. Now we only have 9 minutes, so we need to get in a little bit of the background. I'm going to use my sap green for the grass. You can pretend there's some bushes back there. And coming close to the fur, we'll come back and define that. Okay, we'll make some trees up there. Great. And we'll add a little bit of just darkness to give shadows and depth to our grass. Let's switch to this nice dark brown. We'll pretend the puppy's been playing in some little bit of dirt. We'll add in a little bit of blue-green in the background to push that back and rub it in. because we just kind of want it to imitate grass. We don't have to worry about it being grassy. We'll use a bit of brown just to add variety. Now grab your green back and go crazy. A little bit of blue sky. I think it needs a little more blue in it. I'll use the side of my hand, which is a little cleaner, and we're just going to quick rub. We want the background to be blended and soft, and it's not the point of this picture, so we're just giving him a framework to sit in. Okay, we're running a little short on time. So now let's go back and put the puppy head back in. I'm going to take this black, because it's a little bit harder than the black I used earlier. We need to give him some puppy fur. I'm going right over the top of that blue and purple because it's now defining shapes. Whenever we look at the edge of something, well, when we look straight onto something, there's an edge that we know is there. We know it's actually a firm edge, but our eye fades it out. So just take a look at something straight in front of you and notice that you can see the objects in your peripheral vision, but they're not sharply defined. That's what we're doing here. We're unsharpening his define. Okay, let's get this lighter color. There we go, that color. And just give him a little edge right here. Squishing that back up into his face. Just a wee bit. Good. You can get a little bit of finger cleaning work here. Now, when we're going to put in this white, we're going to do it in such a way that lets us have room for white. So we're going to start with kind of a soft purple on this darker side. That's a little dark. Let's go up one. This is a nice color. It looks almost white, but it's actually kind of a pinky purple. And we'll stick that on this side of his nose. Go a little bit slower here. I'm kind of using this grayish purple to kind of blend the blacks that I put in there. And real carefully, let's make his little lips. Okay. Now he's feeling like he's kind of coming together a little bit. There we go. There's that puppy. But his nose has gotten a little lost in this shuffle. So we'll get the black back out. There we go. Now Frodo, or AKA Yogi, had a slightly different shape to his nose because, I guess because of his cleft palette. We're going to use a gray now. I mean, it looked like a dog nose, but it wasn't shaped quite the same. There we go. Now I'm going to take this pale blue. It looks white, but it's actually kind of a pale blue. But next to this, it looks very white. Give a few little frou-frou touches of hair Now this looks white, so we're gonna just use it here. Make a little sunburst for his puppy fuzziness. Doesn't have to be every one because it's just the ones that were on top of his head. Top of his nose, I mean. Okay, 3 minutes. Switch corners. I have to switch the corner because it's getting worn down. Got to keep him looking fuzzy, and he's really got more of a lip down here than I'm showing. So let's fatten his mouth up just a little bit. Puppy cheeks. Okay, go back to that purple for down here. It actually looks a little more blue in the picture, but I know from experience that this warm gray purple is perfect for what I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to use some experience and get ahead of myself a little. Now underneath him the grass is darker because it's shadowed. So we're gonna take a little of this kind of, whoop, that's not the right one. This green. There we go. We need to get that in there. Okay, I have less than 2 minutes to go. I need to hit the turbo button. Now that we're friends, here are a few things you can do to help me keep the videos coming. Hit the subscribe button below and leave a comment while you're there. Share this video on your social media or share it with a friend. You can go to my website where you'll find more painting tips, and you can buy the paintings I've created in these episodes. You can also see my fine art originals that took me way more than 27 minutes to create. Book me as a guest artist for your next gathering or convention. I do live painting demos and paint-alongs for groups of every size, either in person or via Zoom. Next time on 27-Minute Artist, have you ever looked at the back of a flower? There's a raw beauty you may never have noticed, and we'll capture that in pen and colored pencil. See you next time.